So we're talking about the 12 traits of a high-value man today. But listen, this is way more than just some list. This is a blueprint, a guide for rebuilding your entire life, and it comes from a really intense personal story from its author, Joshua Sigafess. Let's get right into it.
And it all started with this one sentence. I mean, imagine this. You're 30 years old and your life just implodes. A whole decade of marriage, poof, gone. The very foundation you built your world on, it just crumbles. We're talking a complete, and yeah, a brutal life reset.
So, standing there in the middle of all that wreckage, he had this one question just burning in his mind. And look, the easy thing to do, blame his ex-wife. I mean, she's the one who left, right? But when he took a really hard, honest look in the mirror, a much tougher truth started to surface.
Okay, so here he is in the ruins of his life, and he's got to figure out how he ended up there. And that's what led to this huge realization.
This right here, this was the absolute turning point. That tough, brutal admission that, hey, my life wasn't wrecked by someone else, I wrecked it. He realized he just wasn't living like a high-value man. But what does that even mean, right? It took him years of really digging deep to figure that out.
And this really sums up his whole journey. Hitting rock bottom, it wasn't the end for him. In fact, it was the beginning of this incredible positive transformation. And the principles he found along the way, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
Okay, but before we jump into the list of traits, we have to understand the why behind them all. The author has this really core concept he calls the masculine core mandate.
So what is that? Well, here's the fundamental idea. The author argues that men are, evolutionarily wired to do three things: generate resources, solve problems, and provide safety for their tribe, their family, their community. Every single one of the traits we're about to talk about is designed to help a man fulfill that purpose.
All right, so now that we have that foundation, let's get into the blueprint itself. To make it super clear, we've actually grouped all the traits into three main themes.
First up, mindset and mission. This first group of traits, it's all about your internal game. We're talking about clear direction, focus, that powerful drive inside you. Let's check out the first one.
Okay, so first things first. He has a purpose. A high-value man knows exactly where he's going. I love this metaphor the author uses. He says a man without a purpose is like a ship just adrift at sea, getting tossed around by the waves. It's all about having a crystal clear vision for your future and a real plan to make it happen.
And he's proactive. This isn't a guy who waits around for things to happen. He's a man of action. He knows that every single day is a chance to move the needle forward. He's not going to get stuck in analysis paralysis or just procrastinate. Nope, he makes a plan and then he executes.
All right, let's move on to theme number 2, character and courage. So if the first theme was about direction, this is about the substance of a man. We're talking internal strength, responsibility, that moral compass.
This one is huge. He practices extreme ownership. What does that mean? It means taking 100% full responsibility for his life. He doesn't let the little things slide because he knows firsthand that those small neglects can snowball into total disaster.
And check out the contrast here. It's so important. A high-value man isn't fearless. Nobody is. He's courageous. He's willing to face failure head-on because he sees it as a chance to learn and grow. On the flip side, a man who's paralyzed by that fear of failure, he just stays put, stays in his comfort zone, and ultimately, he stagnates.
So, to make sure he never ever made the same mistakes again, the author actually created a personal code of ethics for himself. 18 rules that, get this, he still reads every single day. It's all about living intentionally and holding yourself to a higher standard.
Okay, so we've talked about the internal stuff, the mindset, the character. Now for our final theme, action and impact. This is all about how that internal work translates to the outside world, how he interacts with people, and how he leads.
He's a leader, for sure, but not a dictator. The author calls him a servant leader. Think about that. It's someone who leads from the front, who's willing to sacrifice for his tribe, and who is genuinely committed to helping everyone around him win. He's a net positive force for good.
And you can't lead effectively without clear communication. A high-value man communicates directly. There are no mind games, no passive-aggressive nonsense, because the author sees that stuff as a sign of weakness. He says what he means, directly and honestly, even when it's tough.
So there you have it. Those are the core traits. But the big question now is, what do you do with this information? Where do you even start? Well, the author gives us a really clear 3-step action plan to get going, like today.
So how do you begin this journey?
It's actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, develop yourself. Just start where you are. Aim to be 1% better every single day. Step 2, find your purpose. This takes some real work, figuring out what you want to achieve. And step 3, build your tribe. You have to invest in other high-value people who are going to invest right back in you.
But, and this is super important, you got to remember, this is a lifelong process. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? This isn't some quick fix or a weekend course. The author makes it really clear. You have to stick with it. It's a continuous journey of improvement.
So that's the blueprint, and it all comes down to this one last question, a question for you. After hearing all this, what's the one thing, the one small action you're going to do differently today to start this journey?